Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and for my 100 movies, since I watched for the first time the original Tron, why not watch the sequel, the long awaited sequel? This is a movie that came out, 30 years? Close to? In between? I'm talking about Tron Legacy. This is a 2010 film that was directed by Joseph Kosinski. And Tron Legacy is one of those films that I remember when it came out. And I had no interest in seeing it because I didn't know the property. I never saw the original. I might not even have been aware at the time that it was a sequel to an 80s film. But even so, I remember seeing trailers and promotional stuff of how it looked. I thought it looked interesting. I thought it looked different. And then I remember hearing at the time reviews were pretty mixed. So maybe that's why I wasn't quick to watch. Maybe that's why I wasn't quick to sort of be more curious. Now, after seeing the first film, and given how I feel about that first movie, my thoughts are kind of all over the place. This second movie, surprisingly, I enjoyed. I did. There are a lot of different things that I liked about this new film or newer film. I like how you could tell that when it comes to just an idea, when it comes to what the Tron programming is, the first movie was way too old and could not pull off those ideas visually. It could not realize them in a way to make it cool. Maybe it's more that it doesn't hold up. Maybe if you watched the original movie at that time it looked cool, but now it looks pretty bad. Now, for 2010, and honestly, even in retrospect, this film now, is almost 15 years later, and it still looks good. Partially because the Tron world, this computer world, it helps that it is supposed to be computer graphics. It is supposed to be in a digital space that does look CGI, or the CGI doesn't look distracting. It fits perfectly, and so it still looks gorgeous. Watching it now, I'm sitting here going, even on my TV, I'm watching it and going, man, I bet this was probably incredible in theaters to see this in a visual state. So that is where the movie gets a lot of points for me. Maybe most of the positive points is how the movie looks visually. The story itself, you see at the beginning, it's like 1987, and Jeff Bridges, the younger Jeff Bridges, he's telling his son that he has this cool thing and he's going to show it to him one day. Then he disappears. So his son, Sam, you flash ahead, and Jeff Bridges, his dad, has been gone for all of this time. So his son, I got a little tired of the beginning where, oh, I'm the rebel, oh, I'm the one who doesn't like authority. I mean, I get the idea that there are people running his father's company that probably shouldn't be in those positions and are probably doing things that isn't what's in the best interest for the company. So I get that, but still, the whole angst thing, he's not a teenager anymore. He's in his late 20s. Like, come on, him breaking in to steal something and jumping off of the roof, and it's like they want him to come across as super cool, badass. I just thought, dude, either take the company back or not. Like, what are you doing? And the actor who plays grown-up Sam is played by Garrett Hedlund. And I don't think I've ever seen him before, but I got major Hayden Christensen vibes from him, mostly because he seems like an actor. He's not a bad actor, right? He's not terrible, but he's sort of put in this position where he has to be the main character of this big, super big budgeted movie, and I don't know if he's quite ready for that, right? I don't know if he's ready to be the main focus. There were a couple moments, especially early on, where I didn't think he was all that strong, line delivery or being believable. I kind of thought similar look to Hayden Christensen, and I thought if this was a stronger actor, maybe I would connect, or I would feel more okay with some of the teen angst stuff that I think they were writing for his character. Maybe I wouldn't have been so glaring with it. He wasn't terrible, And as the movie went on, and as he wound up in the Tron world, he became less the focus. So maybe that's why it's not even more overbearing. When he gets to the world, I already said that I love the way the Tron world looks. I mean, I could talk probably endlessly over just the design of it. They don't explain why it looks so different from the first movie. It just does, and who cares because it looks better. But that's where we meet Jeff Bridges. And first, we see him de-aged. And fuck, this de-aging effect looks awful. It looks terrible. I love the de-aging idea, especially if it's the actual actor playing the role, but they're able to make him look younger, and in this case, almost 30 years younger. It was probably cool for Jeff Bridges to be able to play two different roles, and one of them being himself younger. Like, I like that in theory, I like that in concept, and if they did make it look better, or whether we have to still wait longer for this technology to get better so that it does look better, there are moments where it's either up close on his face and you see how weird and misshapen his mouth looks. It reminds me of Henry Cavill's Superman with the mustache CGI. It's like, for whatever reason, we can't really recreate a human face without something being off, without that uncanny valley. There are moments, there are scenes where it's either a little further out and it looks decent, or there's one room in this area where the lighting is more yellow, and I thought that looked decent with his face. But any other scene when he's more brightly lit or he's face to face talking to somebody, it looks so bad. And maybe you could argue, well, it's the Tron world, so he's supposed to look off. Besides the fact that everyone else looks normal, so that kind of throws that out the window. And in that first scene that takes place in 1987, when young Jeff Bridges is talking to his son before he disappears, he looked just as bad. So it's not a Tron, this is supposed to be the way it looks type deal. It just, I get it. I guess ultimately it does work given the story, but I just wish it looked better. Jeff Bridges, the younger version of himself, is the villain, Clue, who's the computerized version that turned evil and tried to take over Tron. I guess successfully did take over Tron. And the real Jeff Bridges is sort of secluded elsewhere, and he is older. And I liked seeing him play those two different parts. I mean, Jeff Bridges is probably the best as far as the actor and acting goes in this movie. He is a lot more interesting. And I guess I liked seeing his sort of knowledge of this world and what you can and cannot do. Olivia Wilde plays this character, Quora. And I like Olivia Wilde, or at least I definitely liked Olivia Wilde back around this time period. I thought she was super ultra mega hot. So yeah, there's that. But also the idea that her character is sort of this special being that Jeff Bridges was able to create. And she's kind of the key to unlocking more possibilities. I mean, talking about computerized tech furthering human advancement, you get into murky water, especially given how people are complaining today about AI and just, it's like, all right, is this the best thing? Is Jeff Bridges' character doing the right things by furthering creating? I mean, look at what was made from his own Clue guy. He snapped and turned evil. But I liked her. She has potential, I think, especially if they continued forward with this. Michael Sheen plays this overly flamboyant costumed character that I almost wish we saw more of him. His look reminded me of something out of the Hunger Games. And, he's pseudo-villain, but clearly he's doing things only for, his own doing. We didn't get enough of him, is my point. I liked the little that we saw. And speaking, only seeing somebody for a little bit, Cillian Murphy is in the beginning of this movie in such a small part. Almost you blink, you miss it, because he's supposed to play the son of the business guy who I think was in the original movie. And so he's now taken over, and it feels like they were going to do more with the Cillian Murphy character. if there was a third movie. They talked about a third film, but I don't know what the hell happened. It was greenlit, and Disney was going to do it. Then I think Tomorrowland bombed, and so they got super scared and just like canceled everything, which is wild because even though this movie didn't get great reviews, it still made money. So I'm surprised that Disney didn't say, well, instead of taking chances on something like a Tomorrowland, let's go with something that will make money. And I would presume Tron 3 would have made money. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, I'm not saying this movie's perfect. I'm not saying that if people think this movie's not good from a story or script or even character standpoint, I get that. It might not be the strongest in those areas, but I enjoyed what story was there. I thought it was interesting enough to get by. And the visuals really put me over the top. The visuals made me go like, this is something different. This is something special. I would definitely take more of this world. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Tron Legacy? Do you agree that it's pretty good, maybe underrated, or not that good? You're glad it didn't get a third film. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!